Time to talk about your health. Living a Primal Lifestyle. With your hosts, Nico and Ellen Haan. Now, Nico and Ellen Haan.
Good morning, I'm Nico Haan. Welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to a more balanced and natural wild world.
To recover our natural health and regain our rights and freedoms. Good morning, I'm Ellen Haan.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day in downtown St. Petersburg, 77 degrees, mostly clear skies, kind of muggy. We got that storm out in the Gulf.
Yeah, I was down in Fort Myers yesterday and kind of watching the sky and watching the weather and thinking, am I going to get out of here before those bands of rain start?
Yeah. And
I did.
Yeah.
It was all right.
Yeah, and we got snow in the north. In fact, it's probably going to snow all the way down to El Paso today.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it sure is.
Of course, we're sitting down here in 90 degrees with some humidity, and we forget it's the it's the end of October.
Yeah.
So it is winter.
Yeah, it is. That's for sure. Yeah. I'd like to remind you folks to pick up a couple of things for us, the first one being the Primal Edge. And this has over 310 organic cell-ready liquid ingredients. It's easy to take and has all the vitamins and minerals you need if you've got a great diet. And this complements it really well. Make sure that you get everything you need to be healthy and
strong.
That's right. And of course, the next thing is the Health Signals newsletter. This follows the show. All the articles that we discuss on our show are in here, so you can make up your own mind and do your research.
Well, and do our research.
Yeah, and the number here is 877-927-6648. And today I want to start off with the carnivore diet. And this is something that we've been kind of testing. We think it was kind of a natural progression that we started off doing the paleo thing. And slowly but surely, we started eliminating different things that really probably didn't appeal to us too much. And, we tried a lot of different things, but we mostly are sticking to the meat and the flavorings, I would say.
Yeah, and we do some things. Like last night, we had some sauerkraut and trying to stick to the fermented additions and ways to implement the digestive process.
Yeah, and this is kind of the new kid in town, I would say. In the last few years, there have been a lot of people talking about adapting this type of carnivore diet, and, people want to know what it is, and basically it's you're eating meat and not the plants, kind of the opposite of the vegan diet. They call this a very extreme diet. I guess the vegan diet probably would be the same thing.
Yeah, in the other direction.
Both in the other directions. I don't see a problem with either one as long as you're doing it right. And I just think it's much easier on a carnivore diet. It's less preparation and a lot easier to choose things.
Well, I think even more importantly, it's easier to digest. It's easier for the body to assimilate the meat. Then we know that the plants need a lot of preparation before you can assimilate them.
Yeah, that's for sure. So let's go over this and see what he says about it. First thing is, of course, it sounds extreme. He says, you're right, most people don't ever consider doing this, and we kind of naturally drifted into it, and all of a sudden we were discovering that we were there already. But some of the benefits, and these are things that are reported by just about everybody. The first thing is the clearer thinking. If a carnivore diet induces a state of ketosis, it'll also increase the mitochondrial
biogenesis.
And that's reducing your brain fog, so you're thinking very clearly.
People don't think about that brain fog. You kind of get accustomed to being fuzzy.
Well, you do these days, that's for sure.
You don't realize it. It's a slow process, and it creeps up on you, and you can't think clearly, and you think, oh, well, I just am a little stressed today, or too much going on, can't keep it all in my mind.
Yeah, but you do notice it. I mean,
if you're paying attention, you notice it.
That's for sure.
And that's part of it.
Yeah, and the other thing is that it improves gut health, and this is one of the first things I think I noticed, and that's probably one of the reasons we started eliminating some of these plant foods is because they were irritating us.
Yeah, that was, I think, the first real motivation for when we looked at Mark Sisson's book, what was it called?
Primal Blueprint.
The Primal Blueprint. and we saw the information about the grains and the inflammation. And at that time, we were having various aches and pains, and we said, okay, well, let's try this. And
this is really the ultimate elimination diet. And that's what he's calling it, too. So if you have problems with certain foods, it's mostly plant food, not animal foods, although some people have problems with not so much protein, but fat, the excess fat, so you have to slow that down a little bit. So this is definitely, you're eliminating fiber, you're eliminating lectins and grains and legumes and sugar, seed oils, in a lot of cases, maybe even dairy, which you do because you're very allergic to it. And the third thing they classify here as a benefit is the weight loss, and this is kind of a natural benefit of it.
We find that when we eat the meat, we're just not hungry afterwards, and we feel satisfied, and we eat less meat than we did.
Yeah, we started off eating larger amounts, and then slowly but surely it gets down to maybe that 6-ounce piece, or even sometimes 4-ounce piece, depending on the cut.
Yeah, how dense it is. But, even just like a pork chop. I mean, when we started out, we used to each eat 2 pork chops,
That's right.
And now, I can barely, we don't even finish one.
No, that's right.
And we have leftovers.
And just think about the extra calories that are in the other food that we don't eat now. So we're eating a lot less calories, which every study on longevity says that you have to,
as you get older,
and probably right from the beginning, that eating less is less stressful. You're not digesting as much. And we know that a lot of the repairs in the body and the maintenance systems in the body don't go on while you're digesting food.
Right.
So the less you're eating, the more optimal is your health because of that. I would say that's right.
And you get a lot of nutrients. It's very nutrient-rich food that we eat.
Yeah,
so
they call that nutrient dense.
Dense, right.
It's all packed into a smaller package.
Right. So we feel satisfied when we finish eating. It's just so interesting to me that that's the case. And then you're not hungry like an hour later, 2 hours later, 3 hours later.
Right.
And I just stopped eating lunch because I wasn't a bit hungry in the middle of the day.
Yeah, and that's the biggest change I think we made in the last couple of years. We eat breakfast and we eat dinner, and sometimes I don't even eat breakfast. But the eating is packed into a smaller window. So we're eating a little bit in the morning, and then we're eating our major meal, I would say, in the afternoon.
And we eat fairly early so that we're not digesting while we go to bed.
Yeah, so now we're eating because you've been working at home for a few years. That makes it easier for me to fix food at 4 o'clock, and I'm off work usually at noon. And so that makes it for us.
Works out extremely well.
Yeah, so we get back. Let's talk about some of the foods on this diet, why we're eating this way, and the differences between like keto and carnivore and the vegetarian diets and things like that.
Good.
So in the meantime, folks, pick up a Primal Edge is really important if you're going to be on a carnivore diet. This ensures you get all the vitamins and minerals you need. Stick around, we got a lot more.
Introducing Primal Edge.
Today, it's even more important to take a supplement that complements your health. Primal Edge is specifically formulated to boost your immune system and help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Our early ancestors found all their nutritional requirements in the wild environment. But today, our food sources don't contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that we need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated humic and fulvic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They've been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, without them, life cannot exist.
That's right, Ellen. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge. Just $89 exclusively at TFNN.com.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABCs, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com. Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
And welcome back. So we're talking about the carnivore diet and this article that Mark Sesson has wrote, The Definite Guide.
Written.
Okay. Yeah, handwritten. So what do you eat? You eat meat, beef, lamb, bison, pork, chicken, turkey, venison, seafood, fish, shellfish, lobster, shrimp, crabs, animal foods such as eggs, bone broth, animal fat, bone marrow, organs. Eating food from all three categories on a consistent basis is important to obtaining all the nutrients you need, and that's the key to the whole thing. The following foods are not, eaten by all people who are carnivore, but a lot of them accept them. Some of them don't. That's the dairy, the milk, cheese, the cream cheese. These are all animal-based products.
They're talking about whole dairy products.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's milk and cheese and cream and butter.
Yeah, as long as it comes from animals.
And then, but some carnivores avoid lactose, and so they'll only eat the low lactose dairy. Now that's interesting. I didn't realize that the hard cheeses and butter and cream were actually low lactose.
Yeah, some of them are, some of them aren't, I think.
But, yeah, according to this. And then it was interesting because it talks about honey.
Yeah.
And he says honey comes from bees. Bees are animals, so therefore, technically, it's a carnivore-friendly.
Yeah, and I would also say that the spices are in this vein, even though probably our ancestors somewhere along the line discovered that salt and pepper and all these things were really good to enhance the food. And maybe that came later. But the other thing I would permit in there would be some of the seasonal fruits, even though it's not carnivore.
Yeah,
it's
I think
more
he
like
mentions
paleo.
that later in the article. He talks about the seasonals.
Yeah, and the seasonals are important because this is where you can get the certain vitamin C's and things that you may have a hard time getting from animal foods if you're not eating the liver and things like that.
Yeah.
So also they're talking in here about carnivore versus keto. What's the difference? And if it sounds a lot similar, it's very similar because you're both doing a low carb. A lot of people say that the carnivore diet sometimes isn't low carb, and that might be if you're eating perhaps more honey and things like that. But I would say it's probably low carb.
Yeah, well, and they say the keto is that in a keto diet you can eat salads and so on, and
sure.
And well, you can eat anything you want.
In fact,
you know.
there's probably a keto-based diet just on plants. I would say you could probably do that too. You just have to. It's just difficult, I think. Then there's also what does it say in here? They're both lower carb. They're both higher in fat. They're talking about keto and the carnivore. They both involve eating a lot of animal products. The main difference is that keto contains plants, and carnivore isn't necessarily low carb, and I'm not sure what they mean by that.
Well, it says most carnivore dieters eat close to 0 carbs, a good amount of fat, and are in ketosis most of the time. Keto dieters eat more animal products than the average person, and it's easy to combine the two. So, you know, I'm not sure there's a lot of difference between the two. It's maybe just more linguistics than anything.
Part of it's the shock value. Oh, you're only eating animals, you know, and it's just as shocking, I guess, as, oh, you're only eating plants. But we eat a little bit of both, and that seems to
for
work
so many
for us.
years the conventional wisdom was, you know, you got to eat your starch and your vegetables and your protein on the plate, and that's how you
and
set
5
it.
to 7 servings of the whole grains.
Yeah,
You know, all these things came along because of
Right.
companies pushing these things, not because we were concerned too much about how our diet was. It
Right.
doesn't seem that way.
right.
Okay, so
And it also talks about the that the carnivore diet can help reset the gut biome.
yes, and that's the elimination portion of the diet.
Right.
That's how you reset. What you know, you need to know what is causing your problem, so you eliminate that food and then slowly reincorporate it, maybe, and then you can
Reintroduce.
yeah, exactly.
So it says people with autoimmune and gut disorders almost always have dysfunctional and dysregulated gut biomes.
Yeah.
The carnivore diet, then, when you take out the fermentable fibers and sugars and carbohydrates and other gut-disrupting anti-nutrients that are found in plant foods, that it then allows your body to reset itself.
Yeah, go back to square one, as they say.
Yeah.
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 So there's a lot of pros to the carnivore diet, so let's go over them. One thing is animal nutrients are much more bioavailable, and I think that a lot of people don't understand that. They think plants are naturally much more because people are pushing that, but animal food is really very, and I would say a lot of it is very, very easy to digest, especially once it's cooked. Some of the fibers get very easily. You think of sushi, you think of different types of meat that you eat not even cooked at all, and it just seems to melt in your body.
Yeah, it's kind of counterintuitive because you think of leafy greens, they're light,
Yeah.
you know, you eat a salad when you're on a diet, that's the thing that people do.
Right.
But that's harder to digest for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Than if they had a tuna salad or something.
Well, plants, just like animals, animals run away, but plants can't, so they have all these different defenses. And that's the important part to realize, that a lot of the defenses, and if you're not used to eating them, if your family tree hasn't been eating that plant for generations, it's going to give you a problem.
Well, and you've been talking for years about the fact that plants have natural defense systems, which include things like toxic seed coverings and chemicals in them that protect them from predation.
Right.
And it ends up that's why you have to spend so much time preparing and otherwise treating the plant foods.
Yeah, you have to go through a process with it, and we follow a couple of people who are vegetarians. We have that couple that are on Vancouver Island, Nicole and Jake, and when you see what they do with these plants, now they're strictly vegetarian. They feed their dogs fish, but other than that, they're strictly plants. And you see what they go through. They go through drying processes where they dry everything out.
Mushrooms, particularly.
They ferment them. They let them soak for a long time, and they cook them a couple of times sometimes. So very intensive, and they got a nice clean lifestyle, and it's beautiful.
And then, according to this, animals are in a different category because they can get away from their predators.
Yes.
And they don't need that passive chemical warfare.
Yeah. They can bite you, they can claw you, they can get away, and
Right.
they have a good chance.
But plants can't run.
Right. Yeah.
But then they manufacture chemicals that irritate the guts or outright poison the animals who seek to eat them. So And then it says there's no phytates, lectins, gluten, oxalates, or other problematic compounds in a ribeye.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, when you look at animals eating something and later on they poop it out, you know, the remains, they always look at their poop and they smell it and stuff. It's something that we think, well, that's gross, but it's important to look because they know that if there's something wrong with that, it refers back to what they've eaten before.
It's instinctive.
So, yeah, it's instinctive. And also, when you're eating animal products, they go through a lot faster. I'm much more regular than I've ever been in my life, eating less and less plants. So it's something to consider, too, because I always had a problem with the IBS, you know, things going through me. So stick around, folks. We got a lot more. We'll be right back.
Would like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today. If you're not currently using the TAS Profile Scanner when looking at setting up your trading opportunities, then your arsenal is short a mighty weapon. The TAS Profile Scanner is a standalone piece of software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Headed by Steve Dahl, TAS understands that in today's technological world, the use of top-flight software applications and technical analysis expertise is essential to successful trading in today's market. You also gain access to the webinar that Steve Dahl and Tom O'Brien just hosted, The Best Way to Use the TAS Profile Scanner to Profit. This webinar archive is available for all subscribers immediately upon signing up. All new subscriptions also come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Start your subscription by visiting the front page of TFNN.com today, and you'll find the TAS Profile Scanner under the Services tab. Sign up today. Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
We've been talking about the carnivore diet and the keto diet and from the chat room we had a comment about wild animals that eat the organs first, and we've talked about this in the past that our primal ancestors also knew that they would eat the organs first.
Well, not only that, being on the hunt, you have the chance of having some of the blood first. You also have a chance of eating some of the, like the liver maybe, or the heart.
Kidneys.
It was part of a ritual that they did, but it was for the nutrients. And Robert is right in the chat room by saying that it goes beyond that. When they were under stress and they needed to leave the kill, and they took the most prized possession of the animal, and that was its fat.
Well, the most
they would leave the
nutritious
rest.
and the most important to their well-being, and the organ meats are rich in magnesium and calcium and things that you often would get from like dairy or another source. So,
and vitamin C is in the organs also. So a lot of these hidden nutritions are exactly where our ancestors were looking. They were looking at these organs and they prized them, and that's part of the diet is important to get them. And that's really why we have the Primal Edge, because these are much, much harder to get these days. We don't eat the skin as much. We don't eat the cartilage as much. We don't go after the bone marrow like we used to. So that's why we have things like the Primal Edge to ensure that you get all the nutrition you need. So this is really important. Whether you're a plant-based person or an animal-based person, you've got to be sure that you get the nutrition. It's just not available today as it used to be. So you have to take supplements.
Yeah, and the Primal Edge really is particularly good for micronutrients.
Yes.
The little bits of things that you do need. You don't need a lot of it, but you do need a trace amounts or small amounts, and you need them because they interact with other things and they enable other things.
Well, they actually enable the signaling. The fulvic and humic acid is the thing that signals everything, so you can get the nutrition.
So the body
you need.
knows, that yes, we need to take this in, and it's time to assimilate it. It's interesting too because I think today the general understanding of how we evolved has come to conclude that eating the more meat and the fat and the seafood, because a lot of original hominids were coastline.
Yeah,
people.
we were always in the coast. That's what we do.
Until they eventually moved across the land. But the point was that was what fed our brains. That the fat feeds your brain. Yep. And they say that it enabled us to evolve, to grow our brains. And
there was actually two
function.
things that did that. One was the fat, of course, getting our brain much larger, and the other thing was the fire, and that helped our digestive system. So when we started cooking things became easier to digest.
Right.
Then our body can grow faster, and we became what we were today.
Yeah. Yeah, and it says, and then plus when you had fire, you could cook. When you cooked the meat, that made the bone marrow more accessible, easier to get into the bone,
right.
And
because now you can crack the bone easier.
Right,
yeah.
right.
There's some cons, they say, so let's go over those. Detractors point out some potential cons and how did they hold up? Well, the first thing they always mention is no fiber. And even though that's not quite true, and I like what Mark Sessons says, it's whether fiber is necessary, that's one thing, but the other thing is that there is fiber in animals. We don't call it fiber because they've classified fiber as plant food.
Right.
But there is fiber, there's cartilage and gristle and connective tissue, and all these things are very important. That's the glue that holds us together. So when we're eating the bone broth and things like that, this is what we get out of we rebuild our bones, and so it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Some of the other things are like micronutrient deficiencies. They say meat is a great source. Of course, we know that vitamin B is, the primary thing that we're after here. But there's other things like folate and magnesium, potassium, and vitamin C in our diet.
Well, they say those plants are the primary sources of folate, magnesium, potassium, and vitamin C.
But there's little traces in those organs that we have, and we don't need a lot of those, so it's enough. And probably with your seasonal fruits and a little bit of honey tossed in, you're probably doing quite good.
Well, and the liver, for example, has vitamin A, and egg yolks contain folate.
Exactly.
And folate is critical to
and
overall health.
Also things like magnesium, which are really essential, are also in the snails. They have them in snails. They have them in fish.
It's in caviar.
Yeah, any kind of eggs.
Right.
Yeah, so
right,
chicken eggs are really important.
It says fish eggs are good sources,
Yeah.
so
And
eat your caviar, folks.
You just think, we've been telling people not to eat the yolk of the eggs, which is really the important part of the eggs.
Egg white omelets and stuff.
Right. So.
Yeah, that's where the fat is, and that's where the folate is, and it's really important.
The thing they mention here, meat is a good source of potassium, but you have to consume the juices. And this is where the bone broth comes in, of course.
Yeah, well, plus if you eat your meat rare or medium rare, and there's some juice on the plate, and it gets absorbed in as you're eating it.
Yep. So this is pretty interesting stuff. No vegetables, of course. I think you can put some in there. I mean, I don't think it really hurts to add a few cooked vegetables in there, or some fermented things like we did last night. We had some of the cabbage.
Sauerkraut.
Or sauerkraut, yeah. So, you can add things in as you go. I think it's a good way to start is just go full blown, and because that's the elimination diet. And that'll give you a good clue of all of a sudden you're feeling good and you say, wait a minute, what is not making me feel good? And you can go back and try to reintroduce things, and then you'll find out what is that culprit that makes your digestive system go crazy. We all have something like that.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, too, because he talks about incorporating vegetables in the form of marinades and sauces. Mm-hmm. And rather than, eating an actual vegetable on the plate, if you put it in with your, as a sauce over your meat, that gets you can get
Or if you're doing a roast, you throw some vegetables on it, and they all kind of cook together, and they all get the same kind of taste in it. Yeah, those things are nice. And, we're not saying that you need to go full bore in any of these things. It's just interesting that there's real health benefits to all these things. And like we said, we naturally kind of gravitated to this, starting from carnivore, getting interested in the whole keto thing, and then slowly but surely eliminating things that really were not important to us, and that's the way I kind of look at it.
And more than that, we eliminated things that actually were making us sick. And think that what you have to do is pay attention to your body and pay attention to how you feel.
Yeah, and this is why people have things like diaries, and they make notes on things. Yeah. And this is important. I never did it. Mm-hmm. I have a pretty good memory as far as when I eat something, I know if it bothers me or not, because
it happens fast.
It happens pretty fast. Yeah. So.
But it's you know what? If food is a central part of your life, if cooking, eating out, whatever is a central part of your life, then changing your focus still on food, but keeping the diary of what you ate, or having a meal plan, or choosing what you're going to eat, that feeds right into your food interest.
Yeah, and that's how you stay healthy.
Makes it easier for you.
Mm-hmm. Stick around, folks. We got a lot more. We'll be right back.
Introducing Primal Edge.
Today, it's even more important to take a supplement that complements your health. Primal Edge is specifically formulated to boost your immune system and help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Our early ancestors found all their nutritional requirements in the wild environment. But today, our food sources don't contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that we need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated humic and fulvic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They've been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, without them, life cannot exist.
That's right, Ellen. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge. Just $89 exclusively at TFNN.com.
Hi, folks. This is Tom O'Brien. The printing presses are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The U.S. deficit has risen 200% in 1 year with no end in sight. The markets are looking for an additional stimulus bill to get us through this once-in-a-generation pandemic. There is no free lunch, folks. The more stimulus dollars put into the marketplace, the less your dollar is worth each and every day. This is the time to protect yourself with a portion of your portfolio in the metal market. The Gold Report comes out each Monday morning. I bisect and dissect the dollar, silver, gold, the XAU, and the HUI. The Gold Report is a long-term hedge against the dilution of your buying power. The U.S. has put more than $6 trillion into the marketplace in the last 6 months, with more expected in the next few months. The market did and does need the stimulus, but it will have long-term implications on our buying power. The Gold Report comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Go to TFNN.com and order the Gold Report now. Protect your buying power. Order the Gold Report now.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Okay, so this next article I found in the Wall Street Journal yesterday, pandemic fatigue is real and it's spreading. And yeah, we do feel this. There's no doubt. It seems like now all of a sudden there's a resurgence, maybe the third wave or something, I don't know.
Although they are talking about it much less severe in terms of
deaths,
symptoms, and
the hospitals though are getting inundated again, and that's the big problem.
Part of that is panic, I think, and
maybe so. Yeah, the problem is too the hospitals are back doing their normal things. So then, they don't have as much room as they...
Have they relaxed some of the...
Well, I think some of them have them, some of them haven't. Every community has to kind of do it on their own, and everybody's looking for a different advice and maybe getting too much from one source or another. I don't know. It's very confusing to me. The whole thing has always felt very weird to me. We go along with whatever they ask us to do naturally, because not because we're sheep, just because it just makes sense to be nice.
Right.
I think that's an important part.
Be respectful of other people.
Yeah, and wearing a mask now and then is not going to hurt anything. I think if you wear it all the time, might be a problem if you don't clean it and stuff like that. But those are small little things. The pandemic fatigue is really something that you feel on a daily basis, because if you turn on the TV, your regular programs probably aren't there, but the news is always there. It's always 24/7, and they're always talking about the same darn thing. It's either Trump or they're talking about the pandemic, and both are...
Well, that's why I don't watch the news.
Yeah. You leave it to me. Thank you very much.
No, well, you're a big boy. You can turn it off. And I mean, you're able to compartmentalize that stuff a little better than I am. It just hurts me when I watch negative, toxic news stories that are always about people dying and people having terrible car accidents, and the focus of the media is that if it bleeds, it leads kind of thing, and it's so. But it's more even more than that. The fatigue is also tied to there's nothing to look forward to. People were meeting with families, and I mean, we had to cancel our cousins' reunion, and everybody was coming. Yeah. And they were so excited, and everybody was really looking forward to it. And when we had to cancel it, I don't know that we'll ever be able to put it together again.
Yeah, and not only that, we had the conference that we were looking for in Denver with suspicious observers. Yeah. And we had our vacation looking all tied to that, and we had decided at one point that, let's get out of here, and let's get it early because later might be worse. And it was one of the greatest things we did, because not only did we have a good time and we had all our adventures, but when we got back, we were really refreshed. We were starting on day one again, instead of being, under 6 months.
month after month.
Yeah, and now I'm back to feeling, oh my goodness, what's Christmas and New Year's and Thanksgiving going to be like? Are we going to be able to see people? Are we going to be able to celebrate like we normally do? Are the restaurants going to be open? I mean, it's all up in the air.
Yeah, well, things seem to be proceeding along, and part of the issue is that everybody has pandemic fatigue, and they want to go to a restaurant, and they're going. Now, and they're getting together with people who are not in their bubble, and it seems to be going fine. There's a little bit of a surge. They're talking about various contributing factors to the resurgence.
Remember, up in Minnesota and Wisconsin and in Michigan, a lot of these northern states like the Dakotas are having surges in the population going to the hospital.
Right. Yeah. But the weather's changing. It's flu season again.
Yeah.
So this may or may not be the same flu.
So now we have the regular stress of the holidays that we normally go through. So we have added stress because of this virus. We have the added stress because the election is going on. We don't know if we're going to be able to travel. We don't know what the plans are 3 months from now. We don't know what Christmas looks like. We don't even know what spring looks like.
Yeah, and then we also have things like worrying about your loved ones, worrying about your family members. The children are, being told we can't go see Grandpa because we don't want to get him sick, and then they're worried about Grandpa, and they're worried about getting him sick.
Yeah, we went to a wedding on Sunday virtually.
A virtual wedding, yes.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. I mean, it was nice to have the wedding going on. We didn't see anybody that we really knew.
Well, it was a very small, wedding that did not, although they enabled a lot of people to see it virtually, they did not have a number of people in attendance. And I feel bad for so many people have gotten married or had to postpone their weddings. And all the other celebrations kind of things that happen. 100th birthday. Aunt Cord turned 100.
Yeah, we had we watched the video last night.
Yeah.
We had all contributed to a little virtual video that they sent to her and all the relatives, and
they put together a little
really
show.
Nice, and just hearing the people's voices and that, and it's strange, but celebrations still go on, and amazing that I have an aunt that's 100 years old and still living and doing well, and I have this in my family periodically. We have people that live above 100. I had an aunt. I remember in Holland, going to her, and I remember because when I hugged her, her whiskers were pinching me, So but she was very old. She was in her 90s at that time. So longevity is good, and maybe that's something.
And it's worth celebrating. And yet she had a very, very small group of people. I mean, just a handful of people who had been in her bubble. Yeah. And were able to be with her, and the rest of the folks, everybody, all the grandkids and the nieces and nephews, and made little video clips.
Well, it would have been. I mean, if it was allowed, it would have been a nice, huge crowd of people, all relatives.
Well, sure, and we would have gone to Canada
no doubt about
for that,
it.
and
sure.
It's a big deal, but so it really does make a difference, and people are tired of it. Yeah. And they're starting to, they're also misinterpreting a little bit. I heard a story over the weekend about a woman, an older lady who was inviting all the family members over, and she said, well, it's okay because they're family. She didn't get the whole, if you're living with family.
Yeah, it's the bubble that is the difference. And, some of these sports teams like the hockey and baseball and things are now under a bubble, and that seems to be working quite well. I see maybe that the Olympics may do something like that too, and that would be cool. Yeah. But the stress of the collective exhaustion known as pandemic fatigue has emerged as a formal adversary for governments that are counting on a high degree of public cooperation. That's the problem we see now. We're in two camps here in the United States, and unfortunately, it's a political, which makes it even worse because now you're really in bed with it.
Yeah, well,
not the disease, but
it's not rational. But people are tired of being home. They're tired of wearing masks. They're tired of trying to talk to somebody. You can't hear somebody. The mask is not a big, heavy thing, but something about not being able to see the
it's
lips
uncomfortable.
moving.
Yeah.
You can't see somebody's mouth moving, and so it's harder to hear what they're saying somehow psychologically. And all of that is contributing to people going out regardless and maybe not wearing masks and maybe going into a large crowd and exposing themselves to what they might not otherwise.
I think so. I think that's what the fatigue does. It does put you, you're out of balance a little bit. But we are not, and we'll be right back.
Back in the day, I joined Hotel California in 2006, and like many of you, was drawn in by, as well as...
Whatever you think about, you bring about. Whatever you focus on grows.
You see, I believe that everything in life happens for us, not to us. And Tom ignited the fire within me to want to learn how to master the markets. So how did I go from knowing nothing about technical analysis to becoming the #1 market timer for the S&P 500 in 2018 and the #2 market timer in 2019? Simply put, I hired coaches with a proven track record, which led me to a whole new set of tools that I created to interpret the message of buyers and sellers. I would love the opportunity to teach you this award-winning set of tools and to help you improve your market timing. You can test drive my newsletter service, Mastering Probabilities, for the next 30 days with no risk to you. Plus, you'll gain access to archive workshops that'll take you step-by-step through my system. Sign up today by going to the homepage of TFNN.com and selecting Mastering Probability in the newsletter tab.
Hi folks, Tom O'Brien here. If you'd like to get my daily newsletter, Market Insights, then now is a great time to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Every morning by 9:30, I send out my morning letter to subscribers with market commentary on a variety of markets, currencies, and commodities to keep investors up to date on the day's trading action. Included in Market Insights are specific buy and sell recommendations for stocks, ETFs, and even options, with stops and price targets included for every trade in my newsletter. If you'd like to try my newsletter risk-free for 30 days, then head over to the front page of TFNN and you'll find Market Insights under Trading Newsletters. I use my years of trading experience to bisect and dissect the market every morning and give my subscribers the most important information they need to know for the day ahead. I even issue afternoon updates for my subscribers whenever warranted with important market action. I'm always scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to my daily newsletter, Market Insights, today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Wow! Go get them, folks.
TFNN has developed a daily programming lineup for traders by traders. We start every trading day live at 8:30 a.m. with Tommy O'Brien hosting the morning market kickoff as he starts the day off by breaking down everything you need to know about what's going on for the trading day ahead. At 9 a.m., Larry Pesavento takes your calls and questions live on the air for the opening bell as he hosts Trade What You See. At 10 a.m., Tom and Tommy O'Brien host the Bull Bear Trading Hour. At 11 a.m., it's Kevin Hinks and Alex Coffey from TD Ameritrade Network with Fast Market. Basil Chapman at noon with the Tiger Technicians Hour. Steve Rhodes hosts the Trader's Edge at 1 p.m. Dave White with the Power Trading Hour at 2 p.m. And Tom O'Brien closes out the day for the final hour of trading live from 3 till 4. Don't miss a second of our daily programming lineup. Tune in to Tiger TV every trading day live at TFNN.com. Educating investors.
So to conclude the show, I want to offer some tips on living a disease-free life, because that's what we're all about. And our bodies were not meant for a modern, fast-paced world, it seems like. Before electricity, people would call it a day when the sun dipped below the horizon. Now we flip a switch. Everything is different.
And keep on working. And sometimes we work around the clock, and we work at night. We're getting too much exposure to the blue light from the computers and the television.
Yeah. So diet has a big thing to play with this, and there's a few things that we would recommend, and this article goes over them. And the first thing in the diet is to eliminate simple sugars. And these are the sugars that, this is the food that is made from white flour, from your cereals, your sodas, just everything that we make, that we don't really call food anymore. So the second thing is eat high-quality protein. You don't have to eat a lot of this, but protein is your building blocks of everything that you are. So to have a pristine source of this just makes common sense.
Yeah, the no antibiotics and the no hormones and the grass-fed and the free-range and pastured and that's important. It's what you eat as well as what kind of food you eat.
Yeah, and number 3 is avoiding inflammatory food. And what is that? Those are grains.
And dairy.
Those are dairy products that aren't normal, you know, pasteurized type of things. Things like gluten and things like the anti-nutrients that are in these foods.
The pest,
are
and
a problem.
when they have, especially the things like the seeds that have incorporated into them, the pest control and the anti-weed stuff, it's just right in the
GMO,
food.
everything.
Yeah.
And the second thing is that the category is lifestyle. Keep a healthy body weight, and you can do that by just eliminating a lot of the calories, a lot of useless calories. We mentioned early in the program that we went to more of a carnivore type of diet. We eliminated a lot of calories, stuff we don't eat at all. We don't need it.
Right.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be as healthy as we are.
Get plenty of sleep.
Yep.
And then they talk also about moving your body. We're designed to move. So
and also fasting. And that's an important thing. Just, you know, going from 4 o'clock till the next day, that's a good fast. But once in a while, you may want to incorporate a longer period of 24 hours or 18 hours. These are all important things. They're all going into the Health Signals newsletter. And Ellen and I will be back next week. So thanks a lot for sticking around.
Be safe.
Bye-bye.
If you haven't checked out the newsletters page of TFNN.com, what are you waiting for? All of the TFNN newsletters are informative, up-to-date, affordable, and a must-have for every trader looking to gain a competitive informational edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets to offer you the very latest in market news. Plus, new subscribers get to test drive our newsletters risk-free for 30 days. From all aspects of the markets, including stocks, bonds, metals, commodities, and tech, there's a newsletter to fit your needs exclusively from TFNN. Stay informed each day you trade and get that competitive edge that will help you stay ahead of the game. Visit our newsletters page by going to TFNN.com and click the newsletters button near the top of the page. TFNN.com, educating investors.
TFNN.